Hello, everybody. A big welcome to our live stream today with Learning English with Oxford. It's so exciting to be able to be here with all of you. So a big warm welcome. This video is going to be available on our platforms as well after we finish the live. But yeah, I just want to welcome you into our session today. So my name is Teacher Alex. I'm an English teacher. I'm based here on the South Coast in the UK. And yeah, I've been teaching English for a while. But what about you guys? Where are you from? So you should be able to use the comment section here and just let me know where you're from. So yeah, like I said, my name's Alex. I'm from the UK. What about you? What's amazing about the internet is that we can meet and get in contact online like this. So we've all got the same goal of trying to improve our English, to learn from each other, and that is a worldwide effort. So we can all work together for that. So here we go. We've got Hassan from Turkey. Big welcome, Hassan. I know Görüşürüz. I think that means see you later or something. We've got Maria from Spain. Hola, Maria. Elvira, good to have you with us. What's the weather like? So I'm looking out at the window behind me and it is raining. It's classic English weather. It's really raining here today. We've got Nila from Germany. Welcome. Ivan from Ukraine. Eduardo from Brazil. Tudo bem? Hassan, you're going to visit London soon. That's awesome. That's awesome. Okay, we've got Yasmin from Egypt. Rogero from Brazil. We got Aton, Alina, welcome Alina from Ukraine, Marina from Armenia, Argentina as well, Hola Capo, Iran. What do I know Iranian? I do know some Iranian, but I've forgotten it right now. Fantastic. So isn't it incredible that we've got people from all around the world being able to join us for our live stream? Victor from Poland, dzień dobry, welcome. Fantastic. Oh, Corfu. I'm visiting Corfu actually next month, and Egypt. Wow. So isn't that incredible? We've got people from absolutely all different areas of the world, and we're all here for the same reason, to help us improve our English. So yeah, guys, a big welcome. Oli from Czech Republic, thank you for joining us. Stefan from Moldova. Dazam Sam from Venezuela, but living in the UK now. That's awesome. And we've got MD Hussein from Bangladesh. Wow, isn't that incredible, guys? Absolutely love it. So if you haven't already told us, please drop down in the comments exactly where you are joining this live from. It's great to see that international community that we have here with the OUP, with Learning English with Oxford. It's fantastic. If you've seen this fire next to me, don't worry. It is just on my TV. I'm not going to catch fire. We're going to be okay today, I think. But yeah, it's fantastic to have you with us. So before we jump into the live and talk about those things, does anybody have any questions that they want to ask first of all? Any questions that you want to ask first of all about anything really? Let's start with that. So just drop your questions into the comments and let's chat, let's talk. See these comments. Petra, oh, fantastic. Kathy from India, from Turkey, living in Australia, fantastic. Now, isn't that great? So we can move to different parts of the world, and English is generally going to be the language that connects us. So that is awesome, isn't it? Richard, hello, Richard. Good to have you with us. Hola capa, right? That's Argentinian slang. From the Netherlands. Thank you guys so much for all of your support. I really do appreciate that. It's great to be here with you. Is it American English? No, it's not American English. So as I said at the beginning, you may have missed this. My name is Teacher Alex. I'm an English teacher and I'm based here in the UK. So I'm English. I'm a native English speaker and I've been living in the UK my whole life pretty much. Here's a few questions. Why are phrasal verbs so complicated? Oh, Maria, that is a good question. And I will be honest with you, phrasal verbs are so annoying, aren't they? They're so annoying. They're frustrating, but they are very important if you want to sound natural with your English. So they're complicated because they don't really mean what you think they mean when you first look at them. And when you're an English learner, that can be confusing and frustrating and make things seem so much more difficult than maybe they need to be. But the way to improve with phrasal verbs is don't put too much pressure on yourself. Just learn one at a time and then try to use them as much as possible. Okay. I think people put way too much pressure on themselves. And when it comes to learning any language, just, take it slow, try to enjoy it and find that motivation. Hi, Tia. Good to have you with us. Is it cold in your city? Oh, actually, it's August, so it should be kind of the warmest or hottest time to be in the UK. But I think it's probably, I don't know. I went for a walk this afternoon. Sorry, at lunchtime, and I got caught in the rain. I got caught in the rain. Means it started raining and I was unprepared for it. So it's not that warm, but it's not that cold. From Syria, from Iraq, from Pakistan, from Ukraine. Who on earth invented phrasal verbs? English is a confusing, complicated, but also beautiful language. So, guys, the theme of our live today is all about natural English. Okay, it's all about natural English. Now, what actually is natural English? What do you think? Put in the comments, what do you think? What is natural English? What does that mean? Because when you're learning any language, often what you learn, at least to begin with, is kind of the standard, the hello, how are you, the very kind of normal, boring English. But natural English is the type of language that native speakers use every single day. And when you can start to use natural English in your speech or your writing, then you're going to sound like a native speaker. And that is the goal, isn't it? When anyone is learning any language, you want to sound like a native speaker. So for me, I think it was about 2 years ago, I was learning Hindi. I was in India for about 6 months and I was trying to learn Hindi. And I really enjoyed learning the natural slang, the phrasal verbs, the idioms of the language, because it makes it so much more fun and you sound so much more natural. Let's have a look at some of these questions. So it's raining here. Is it, Gathy, in India? Looks like you're still wearing sweaters. Yeah, I am wearing a sweater today. It probably is too hot to wear a sweater, but I decided to put one on anyway. Yep. Yvonne, exactly. Natural English is daily conversations, expressions. Really good. Maria, natural language is the way native speakers they use or the language that they use. Really, really good. Perfect. Some really great answers here, guys. Thank you so much for commenting. Let's keep that up. That's fantastic. And Eduardo, informal conversations, good. So if you imagine if I was at the pub, which is a very British place to go, and I was having some food or a drink with a friend, the type of conversations we would be having, that would be natural everyday English. Here we go. Nice, Petra. Natural English is the same, like without a dialect. Maybe, depends. So my dialect or my accent is more from the southern part of the UK. But if I was talking to someone from maybe the north of the UK, or maybe somewhere different, our dialect would potentially, our accent would be different, but we'd still be able to use those natural phrases. That's the problem in our school, English. So you are from Germany, right, Nila? Great to have you with us. No one's talking like this. Same if you try to learn German. So when you're in school, which is where most of us start to learn English, you just learn phrases or vocabulary that people don't necessarily use on a day-to-day basis. Now, that's what we're going to talk about today. Here we go. Nice, Elvira. Natural English is always centered on clear, comfortable, and cultural appropriate communication. Fantastic. Okay, guys, well, what we're going to do, we're going to go and we're going to look at our presentation here today. So this is the title of our live today. So if you're taking notes, which I would say is a good thing to do, no pressure. You don't have to do that, of course. But this is what the theme of our class is going to be about today. Okay. So as always, if you have any questions or anything you want to share, just drop those comments down for us and we will look at those together. Okay. Natural English is when you speak without trying. Yeah, really nice. Okay, so let's have a look at some of our slides first of all. So, first of all, who am I? Who is this? Who am I? Who am I? Well, like I said, my name is Alex, and I'm an English teacher. Okay, I also create content on social media just to help people to learn English more effectively. Because, like we said before, and like lots of you have said in the comments, the language that you learn at school is not really the language that you use day to day when you're speaking English with native speakers. So I try to create content and educational videos to help you to learn and improve. So like I've said here, I help students speak real, natural English, not the stuff, text stiff, that stiff textbook kind of English. We want it to be fun and enjoyable. That's how we stay motivated. I've also volunteered in countries all over the world. So I've been learning how to help people from lots of different countries. I've been volunteering and teaching in India, in Thailand, in Uganda, in Africa. I did some work in Vietnam as well. And I just came back from the Philippines last year. And I'm planning another volunteering trip in the spring next year. So really nice. Okay, we've had a question just come in here. I'm just going to quickly answer this one from Eduardo. Thank you for asking the question. Do you think it's important to focus on the accent? So your accent. So this is an interesting question because your accent, of course, is part of your identity, isn't it? It's part of who you are as a person, the accent that you speak with. Now, if you would like to sound more like an American native speaker or a British native speaker, of course, you can make the effort to change your accent. So maybe you sound more natural, but don't worry too much about that. Your accent is part of your identity, and that's really, really important. So let's go back and have a look at this. So like I said, I'm a native English speaker. I'm from the south coast of the UK. And I really want to help you to feel more confident and comfortable when you're speaking. So let's crack on and have a look. So this is what we're going to be talking about today. So why is natural English so hard? So what do you think? Let me know in the comments. Why do you think sounding natural in English is so difficult? Why is that difficult? Because like I've said here, even if you know lots of vocabulary, you know lots of phrasal verbs, you know lots of idioms, you know lots of words. Maybe you know all the grammar rules, but when you're actually having a real life conversation, you feel stuck and you sound like a robot maybe, and you struggle to sound like a native speaker. Now, why is it so difficult? What do you think, guys? Drop in the comments. Let me know. Why do you think it's so difficult to sound natural when you are speaking English? Well, some of the reasons, like we've put here, most course books, so when you're learning English with a textbook or something, they teach you the formal expressions. They teach you outdated expressions and idioms that people don't really use. Now, one of the most common idioms that people learn is "it's raining cats and dogs." Now, drop in the comments, have you heard of that expression before? It's raining cats and dogs. Have you heard that expression before? Say in the comments if you have and tell me, what does it mean? A little bit of a test. What does it mean? The idiom, it's raining cats and dogs. What does that expression actually mean? It's one of the most widely known idioms. It's raining cats and dogs. What do you think? Put in the comment. What do you reckon that means? A little bit of a test. Massy. It's raining really heavy. Yes, it's pouring, Neela has said. Exactly. So that idiom, it's raining cats and dogs, is taught a lot. But I'll be honest with you, In real English, in real natural English, I would never say that. I would never say to my friend, wow, look outside, it's raining cats and dogs. That's an idiom that's widely known, but it's not necessarily very natural, and it's not really used anymore. It's kind of outdated. So our second point here, you might understand what others say, but it's hard to respond naturally in the moment. So maybe you enjoy watching Netflix, maybe you like TV shows, movies, you understand pretty much everything that's said, but when it's time for you to actually talk, you can't respond in a natural way. And you want to sound fluent, but not fake and not like you're just reading. So this is why it's hard, isn't it, to learn natural English. So this is the thing. So how do you start sounding more natural? What do you think? Let's break it down. So in this live class today, what we're going to do, we're explaining what the problem actually is. We're talking about how sounding natural is difficult. We're going to quickly look at how you can sound more natural, and then we're going to look at lots of vocabulary that you can actually start using to help you actually progress and sound more natural. Okay, so let's just break this first part down. So these are 5 simple steps that we can use. So first of all, learn real phrases. So just learn real phrases, real expressions, things that people actually say. Then you need to listen to podcasts, watch TV shows, have conversations, practice, copy the sounds, use these in real life, repeat, and practice. Now, in the comments, tell me, what do you find most difficult about learning English? What do you find most difficult about sounding natural? What for you is the biggest challenge? What do you think? What is the biggest challenge? Okay, here we go. So Elvira's talking a little bit about slang here. So I love learning idioms. Great. It spices up the conversation. Although many of my friends are not well acquainted with idioms, great word. However, I tend to avoid slang because it keeps changing and can sometimes carry harsh meanings. Okay, that's a great comment, Elvira. Yeah, so you find slang difficult because it keeps changing. So when you want to try and use natural English, maybe you are finding it difficult to know if those words are still relevant or if they're outdated. Okay, that's interesting. Got another comment here. Finding the right words. That's very, very common. You find it difficult to speak naturally. Maybe you don't know the right words to use. We've got Maria, intonation. Intonation, another. The way we talk, the speed, the rhythm, the pace. Okay. Interruption of mother tongue. Okay, so maybe you're translating from your first language directly into another one. Of course, this can be difficult as well. Richard, for me, the big challenge is to remember new words and idioms. Yeah, I completely understand that. It's about practicing, making an effort to really use them. Okay, nice. And Neela, remembering the phrases, and we've also got pronunciation. Okay, so lots of problems here in regards to remembering these natural phrases and also the pronunciation of them as well. So we're going to cover that in our class today. So let's go on to our next section here. So this is what we're going to do now. So if you have your notebook or maybe a notes section on your phone, this is the time to open that up, because I'm going to give you some new vocabulary that you can try to use. Now, as I've said here, these phrases are going to help you to sound more confident. Now, that's important, isn't it? Because when you're speaking English, you want to be able to speak confidently. You want to sound confident when you're talking. You want to be able to respond naturally, and you want to understand native speakers better. So this is how we're going to do this. We're going to look at these phrases now. So guys, really nice comments. Thank you so much for interacting so much. So Francesco, what are you saying? So since I'm learning languages by reading classics, I find it hard to learn so many words and use them with the appropriate verb or noun. Interesting. Okay, so what you're saying here, I'm just going to just come to this. This is quite an important thing to look at. So when you're learning English and you're trying to learn new vocabulary, so this, for example, it's interesting because realistically, if you're reading classic literature, it's good, it's great reading practice, but you will not necessarily learn natural everyday English that's used in conversations that are happening right now. Actually, probably the best things to do are to watch TV shows, reality shows, shows where people are really just talking, having conversations, using slang, using expressions that are used right now. Whereas classic literature is fantastic and it's really good for helping us to learn, to relax, to sit back and enjoy some good books. But it's not necessarily going to help us as well as maybe modern media, where we're going to get that updated new language. Okay, really good. Oh, there are many tenses in English. You have to know to use them. Exactly. Grammar is a difficult one. I think potentially in another live stream, we're going to be going into grammar a little bit more, but let's focus on this natural English today. Okay, fantastic. Right, so let's jump back into our, here we go. So let's go ahead, guys, and have a look at our vocabulary for today. So here we go. So we've got three phrases on this slide now that you can use in everyday conversations. Okay, so the way to sound more natural in English is to keep growing your vocabulary. So the words and expressions that you know. So the more vocabulary that you learn, the easier it's going to be to understand and also to speak in a confident way. So let's have a look at these three expressions here. Okay, let's look at our first one. I've had one of those days. I've had one of those days. Now, what does this expression mean? It means a stressful or difficult day. So, for example, someone says to you, "Hey, Alex, how are you? How's your day been going?" And I could say, "Oh, don't ask. I've had one of those days," which means I've had a bad day. We all experience those kind of days, don't we? Where everything is seeming to go wrong, we're feeling not great. You would say, I've had one of those days. Really nice. So, what I would encourage you to do in the comments is try to use these expressions in your comments, and we'll pin some of the best ones to the page. We can share them with each other. Okay. So, I've had one of those days. So, how do you think you could use that expression in your own English? Try writing a comment in the section here for us, and we can have a look at that. Just want to answer a couple of these questions whilst we have a look at that. Here we go. Nice question, Richard. So when we were talking about your accent before, sounding natural with your accent, do you think the best technique to improve accent is shadowing? Now, shadowing is a technique that you can use to help change your accent. Okay, so you would listen to how a native speaker talks. You would hear a clip of what they are saying, and you would try to imitate or shadow what they're saying in that exact way. It is a fantastic way to improve your accent or change your accent. Fantastic, Anton. Amazing. You went to Oxford. That's awesome. Okay, let's go ahead and have a look at our second phrase here. Okay. I wouldn't go that far. I wouldn't go that far. So what does it mean? Well, it means I don't fully agree with that strong opinion. So let's imagine someone has said, I think the weather in England is the worst weather in the world. Someone says to you, I think it just rains every single day. It has the worst weather. Now, I might say, ooh, I wouldn't go that far. Now, this is a very natural expression and way for me to say, I don't agree with that. I agree a little bit, but I don't completely, fully agree with that strong opinion. Okay. The example here, he's annoying, but I wouldn't go that far. It's a really natural phrase that we can use in our everyday English to sound natural. Okay. So, again, see if we can try to use some of these expressions in our own examples in the comments. I really want to see some of those. Okay. Let's have a look. So, our third one here. You read my mind. You read my mind. Now, what does that mean? Well, it means you said exactly what I was thinking. So maybe your wife, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your husband, whoever comes in and says, "Oh, what do you want for dinner tonight?" And you say, "Oh, pizza for dinner?" You read my mind. You know exactly what they wanted. You said exactly what I was thinking. You said exactly what I was thinking. Okay, let's see. Okay, Radwa. Oh, fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us on the live today. So, we've got a really good example here. So, yesterday I looked sad. And when my friend asked me what was wrong with me, I said, I've had one of those days. Absolutely fantastic. That is a really good example of using this everyday natural English phrase in a conversation. So fantastic. Now you could say that expression, you could speak it, and it would sound so natural, and it takes your English to a higher level. And that's what we want, isn't it? We want to progress. So big well done to you, Radwa. That's fantastic. Elinka, here we go. Is it only for superlatives, or can I say I think the weather is bad? Of course, you can say I think the weather is bad, but we want to try to use these new expressions, don't we, to really express our English in a more higher way. But yet, you could, of course, you could say that. Hi, Avalon. And is it impolite to say I don't agree with you? Not necessarily. Not necessarily. Okay, guys. So, do we have any questions about any of these phrases that we've looked at on this slide so far? Let me know. Any questions on any of these phrases we've looked at so far? And have you heard any of these expressions before? Are these expressions new to you, or have you heard them before? It'd be interesting to find out if these expressions are new or if you have heard them before. Okay, here we go. Maria's just given us a great example. So thanks, Maria. So last evening or last night, you could say, I cooked a pizza and my sister told me, "You read my mind." Yeah, exactly. Really well used. Yeah, really well used. So you've read my mind. You know exactly what I was thinking. Yeah, fantastic. Really well used, Maria. Perfect. That's really good. Well done for joining in there. And Guthrie, it's new. Fantastic. That's good. So what is important is that you take these expressions and you really make an effort to use them in your own vocabulary and when you're speaking. This is interesting. Okay, Neela. So completely new, but kind of similar with German ones. Interesting. So does anybody else here have similar expressions in their own language? Because it's good to link them to your own language to give you that greater understanding. So does anybody here have similar expressions to these from their own language? What do we think? So in German, clearly we've got some similar expressions. English has got lots of similar expressions to German. Yeah. Okay, here we go. Elvira. I've never heard the first one. That's new to me. However, I have used the second one and especially the third one before. Thank you so much. Oh, you're very, very welcome, Elvira. Thank you so much for joining. That's fantastic. Good. Okay, another one from Radwa. Great, good. Lots of examples coming in here, guys. This is fantastic. And this is how. So, do you know at the beginning, lots of people were saying how they struggled to remember these phrases. They struggled to be able to use them in conversations. Now, the way to remember them is to use them. So, Radwa using these expressions, Maria using these expressions, by giving us examples, that is how you remember them. Okay, so to answer that question. So here you go, Radwa. I asked my co-worker if she wants to go to the cinema to watch the Fantastic Four. She said, "You read my mind. I'm a big fan of Marvel." Fantastic. Really great example, Radwa. Okay, interesting. Reading is the best way to acquire knowledge. I wouldn't go that far. Okay, really well used. That expression's been used well there, Ben. Fantastic. Here we go. Elena, first and second are new for me. Third is similar in my native language. So you read my mind is similar in Ukrainian. Very interesting. Elinica, out of these three, only you read my mind in Spanish, all new. Fantastic. Haven't heard the first one. The Chinese version would be under a ton of bricks. Okay. Okay, very interesting. Yeah, in Persian, we use a lot of the third one. Good. I remembered my Persian. It's salam, khubi khubam. I remembered the Persian phrase. So thanks for your patience with that one. Okay, fantastic, guys. So make sure you've got these written down or you're going to try your best to remember them. And we'll come back to that a bit later. So let's have a look at our next slide. So we've got two more expressions here, two more natural phrases that we can try to use in our everyday conversations. So this first one here, number 4, let's play it by ear. Now, this is a very natural expression that I use all the time when I'm talking English. So what does it mean? Well, it means decide what to do later depending on the situation. So, for example, not sure what time I'll finish. Let's play it by ear. So, in other words, I'm not sure what time I'll finish. Can we work out the plan later? Can we decide what we're going to do later and see how things are? Instead, a more natural way to express that would be, let's just play it by ear. So, for example, this evening, I'm actually going out with my sister for dinner, but I'm not sure what time or where we're going to go. So we've decided to play it by ear. We're going to kind of decide what we do as it happens. So good. Some more good examples, Elvira. Well done. Fantastic. Good. Teacher is the sound of read in the past would be read. Yes, the past tense would be read. Different pronunciation. You read my mind is, let's just share these. You read my mind is the same thing and same use of we're on the same page. Pretty much. So if we're on the same page, it means we agree with each other. Whereas you read my mind is almost a reaction. So if someone tells you their opinion or what they want to do, and you say, oh, you read my mind, means you agree, but they didn't necessarily know before. So it's similar, but it's not exactly the same. Okay, Maria. In Spanish, we say estoy en uno de esos días. Apologies for my bad Spanish, but the meaning is a little different. The meaning in Spanish is I'm sick. I am sick as every month. It's only used for women. Interesting. Interesting to learn those different expressions, isn't it? Let's have a look. Nice question, Radwa. Here we go. Perfect, Zara. Great use of this expression here. My cousin asked me about our plan for later, and I responded with, let's play it by ear. So you wouldn't use the plural of ears there. You would just use a singular. So let's play it by ear. Really, really good. Well done, guys. Fantastic. Okay, that's perfect. Let's have a look then at our last expression in our everyday section. So I'm not being funny, but interesting expression, isn't it? So this word funny can be used in several contexts. So for example, if you tell a joke and people laugh, the joke is funny. It's an adjective to describe something that makes you laugh. But also it can mean a bit weird or strange or out of the ordinary. So I'm not being, I'm not being strange, I'm not being funny, but so it means if I'm being honest, even if it sounds rude. So for example, someone might say to you, do you like my shirt? Do you like my sweater, my jumper? And someone might reply, I'm not being funny, but that shirt is very loud. It's a bit much. It's too much. It's very loud. It's a nice expression to use. Okay, having a look at some of these comments. Elvira, I'd love to play badminton, but I'm not sure what the weather is going to be like this weekend. Let's play it by ear. Okay, good. Well used. Really nice. Good job. Radwa, the daughter, asked her mum about their plans for the holidays, and she replied that things are up in the air. Nice expression, up in the air. They're not planned. Let's play it by ear. Really well used. Fantastic. Okay, guys, perfect. Good. So, just in this short section here, we've looked at 5 phrases that you can try to use in everyday conversations. So, natural English phrases that you can use. So, let's just recap these ones again. So, I've had one of those days. I wouldn't go that far. You read my mind. Let's play it by ear. And I'm not being funny, but. So if you use any of these 5 expressions, you are going to sound like an English pro, okay? Your teacher is going to be impressed, your friends are going to be impressed, and you're going to sound very natural. And that is the goal, isn't it? That is the goal. So big well done. So guys, any questions that you have about anything to do with what we've looked at there, then please throw them into the comments. And we'll go through it. But let's just have a look at some more expressions. So here we go. We've got some examples here. Elvira again. I'm not being funny, but this restaurant is terrible. I wouldn't come back here again. Okay, really well used. Sounds incredibly natural. Big well done, Elvira. That's fantastic. Okay. Zara, I'm not being funny, but before I joined this live, I wasn't sure if it was going to be useful. Good, Zara. Fantastic. Now, hopefully your opinion has changed and you have found it useful. Let us know. Give us a like. That's right, isn't it? Give us a like if you found it useful. Don't miss our next sessions. But yeah, really, really good use of that expression. I'm not being funny, but really good. And another one from Elinica. I'm not being funny, but as a singer, she's a great actress. Okay, yeah, nice, good. Okay, perfect. I'm glad it's very useful for you. Okay, can you explain number 5 again? Of course. So this is kind of a phrase that you would use before you say something that could be seen as rude if you're giving an honest opinion. So I'm not being funny, but I don't like the rain. Or I'm not being funny, but I didn't enjoy that movie. When you're giving an honest opinion, you can preface or preface with this little expression to make you sound really natural when you're talking English. Okay, good. Right, let's go ahead and have a look at our next one. So let's just have a look here. What do you think you can see? So we're talking now about professional everyday conversations. Excuse me, sorry, I've got a little bit of a cold. I've caught a cold, so my throat is a little bit dry, but here we go. So phrases for professional everyday conversations. Now, who is interested in business English? Comment below in the section here if you are interested in business English. Does that interest you? Business English. Who here uses English for their work? Do you ever have meetings in English? Do you ever need to have English interviews? What do you think? Do you ever have to use English as your work? I'm not being funny, but idioms are not a nonsense and way difficult. Yeah, I understand. Yeah, I'm not being funny, but I think this TV show is overrated. Good use of the vocabulary. Elinica, yes, uses English for work. Good. Neela, not really. Oh, good. In marketing, we use a lot of English words. Okay, so Richard is from Argentina. And he uses a lot of English in his work with his marketing. Very interesting. Okay, so being able to use kind of natural phrases in our English, especially in a work environment, helps us to sound a lot more natural, a lot more advanced, and it gives us that edge, doesn't it? So let's just see if we can make our way through these. So first one, just to clarify. Just to clarify. What does it mean? Well, I want to make sure I understood correctly. So you're not quite sure what's been said. There may be a misunderstanding. So you just say, oh, just to clarify, we're meeting at 3, not 2, right? So if you are not sure about something, you just say, just to clarify, and then you ask your question. Our second one, I'll circle back to you on that. So it means I'm going to get more information, more info, and I'll update you later. So I'll circle back to you. It's in, I'll find out the answer to your question, then I'll circle back to you. I'll come back and we'll talk about that. Okay, really nice. And then our third one, thanks for flagging that. Thanks for flagging that, which just means thanks for bringing my attention to that. Okay, thanks for pointing that out. So, for example, thanks for flagging the typo in the report. So, these are some expressions that you can use in business English to sound more natural. So, let's see, guys, can you try and use some of these expressions in the comments and let's see how well you can do with those. Oh, Elinika, it's Anne. Oh, fantastic. Good. Welcome, Anne. Good to have you with us. Let's go ahead. Of course, you're joining on the YouTube. Perfect. Let's have a look at our next section here. So we've got a few more phrases. Now, I know I'm showing you a lot of vocabulary, okay? And this might seem a little bit overwhelming, but don't worry. Even if you just pick up one or two phrases that you can use in your English, it's really going to help you. Okay. Oh, here we go. Zara's used. Just to clarify, your live is so useful. Thanks to you. Finger red number 1. Fantastic. Okay, that's good. Really nice. Okay, so just got a couple more phrases here that you can use in your everyday professional conversation. So it's a steep learning curve. It's a steep learning curve. So if something is difficult to learn, so let's imagine you've just started in a new job, okay? And you're finding it difficult to learn how to do the job. You could say it's a steep learning curve, or this job has a steep learning curve, meaning there's some difficult things to learn quickly. So the example here, the new system is great, but there's definitely a steep learning curve. So that's a very high level expression, okay? So if you can use that one in a sentence, I'll be very impressed. It's very good. Our fifth one here, we're working with tight deadlines. We're working with tight deadlines. So the meaning, there's not much time to finish the work. For example, we'll do our best, but we're working with tight deadlines this week. So we're going to try our best to finish it, but we need to finish it quickly. We're working with tight deadlines this week. So tight deadlines means that the deadline or the time you need to finish the task by is very close. So imagine today's obviously Monday, and you need to get it finished by today or tomorrow. You would have a very tight deadline. Okay, nice, Neela. We get a new system nearly every year. Well, it's a steep learning curve. Yeah, that's good. Really nice. Fantastic. You could use it like that. German is a steep learning curve because I can't understand anything. Okay. So you would phrase it slightly differently and say German has a steep learning curve, but fantastic. Really nicely used in that context. Here we go. A few more. Just to clarify, learn English is so difficult to me. So learning English is so difficult for me. But yeah, really nicely used. I really need to translate these phrases to my native language so to memorize them. I always confuse deadline with dateline. Yeah, you don't want to confuse those two. And remembering all these phrases, steep learning curve, of course. So don't feel like you need to learn all of these phrases. That's quite a big thing to do. Maybe you can rewatch this video at a later time on YouTube, where you will be able to, revisit them. But even if you just take one or two and try to use them in your English, that's a great thing to do. Let's look at our next one here. To the best of my knowledge. Kind of basically means as far as I know. So it's all that everything I know, that's the answer. So for example, to the best of my knowledge, the figures are correct. Or someone could say to you, will your mother and father be home this evening? Well, to the best of my knowledge, they should be. As in, that's all I know. Good. Fantastic, guys. Let's go ahead and have a look at our next one here. Okay, so these are kind of some more simple but very, very commonly used expressions when you're meeting new people. So where you're having what we call small talk, so chit chat. So the conversations you have when you meet someone maybe for the first time. So this is a very natural way of asking someone, what is your job? You would say, so what do you do for a living? What do you do for a living? That's the natural way to ask somebody, what's your job? If you met someone for the first time and you said to them, what's your job? Of course, it makes complete sense. I understand what you're saying. But the more natural way, or the kind of phrase that's very commonly used in English, is to ask, what do you do for a living? So, yeah, good. So Maria says, I am a teacher for a living. Perfectly used there. Rihan said, my coworker asked me about a case and I told her, I'll circle back to you on that. Yeah, really nicely used. Great, guys. It's fantastic. Seeing you using these expressions in your own comments, in your own writing, makes me so happy because you're using these very well and you're progressing and you're improving. So fantastic. Well done. Okay, this next one is a phrase I would use very commonly, but it might seem a little bit strange for someone using English and learning grammatically. So, how do you find living here? How do you find living here? Well, what does it mean? It means, well, what's it like living here? What is it like? What is your experience? Tell me about what it is like to live in this area, this city. So, for example, you're new to London, right? How do you find living here so far? Really good. Okay, next one. We haven't crossed paths before, have we? So we haven't crossed paths before, have we? Now, this is a really good question to ask somebody. If you want to find out, have we met before? When you meet someone and you think, oh, have we met before? Have we not met before? It can sometimes be a little bit of an awkward situation, can't it? So you could ask them, have we crossed paths before? So like, imagine this is one path. This is another path. Have our paths crossed before? Which means we haven't met or something like that. Really nice. Really good. Some great experience. I use that in my poem. Fantastic, Anne. I find living in New York expensive. Perfect. Really nice sentence there. Good, good, good. It's a steep learning curve to remember these phrases and apply them daily. Really good use of that expression. Okay, let's have a look. So here's a question here. How can you learn natural phrases by yourself? Now, we've just looked at quite a few phrases that you can use in your vocabulary. And that's great. That's great that you can watch this class and you can learn those expressions. But how can you learn these phrases by yourself? Now, I want to give you a step-by-step guide on what you can do to really learn these phrases and use them. So first of all, what you want to do, watch native content. So what do I mean when I say that? Well, you want to watch TV shows, okay? You want to watch YouTube videos. You want to listen to podcasts, okay? And as much as you possibly can, you want to have the subtitles on, okay? And when you do this, you're going to expose yourself to lots and lots of very natural English. Okay, so watch as much content as you possibly can. Expose yourself, immerse yourself in the English language. Really, really nice. Okay. And if you have any recommendations of any TV shows or podcasts or videos that you enjoy watching, then please drop them in the comments. It would be great to have some recommendations for our other learners as well. Okay. So now maybe you found a new expression. Let's say you are watching, say Adriana here. Yeah, she's watching Friends. Okay. So Friends is a great TV show to watch for hearing natural phrases in English. So let's say you've watched a TV show, you've watched Friends, and you hear a natural expression being used. What do? Well, pause. You stop and you copy that real phrase. You say it out loud in your own voice, and then you make sure you write down that phrase in your notebook or on your vocabulary notes section on your phone. Now, this is very important now. You need to use these expressions in your own sentences. So speak them, use them with real people. Even if you're just practicing with yourself in the mirror, even if you're recording yourself saying these natural phrases, or even if you're just writing these expressions on our live here in a group that you may be with, or with friends, or just in your own notes section. Because if you use them, it's really going to help you to memorize them. And this is another key point. Review regularly. Review regularly. So don't just have long lists of natural phrases in English. Make sure that you review. So you look back at the vocabulary and you try to use them. Don't just have long lists of new phrases. Make sure you really try to use them. Okay. So here's a question for you. Would any of you like to just quickly look at a few idioms that we can use in our English? What do you think? Would you like to look at a few idioms? If you want to, then let me know. Otherwise, we can go into our question and answer section. What do you think? Let me know, guys. Would you rather do a question and answers now, or would you like to look at some more idiom expressions? Yeah, Radwer, reality shows. That's a fantastic way of really learning real spoken everyday English. Because when you see these people on Love Island or whatever it is, you hear how they really talk with different accents. Okay, let's have a look at them. So we got some natural idiomatic phrases here. So that's what you want. And let's go. So number one, to hit the ground running. So if you hit the ground running, it means that you start something with energy and it means you progress quickly. So let's say you've got a new job. You've started in a new job and you hit the ground running. That means you start that new job with lots of energy, lots of enthusiasm, and you are enthused. You want to get it done and you are happy to get going with it. So really, really great expression, to hit the ground running. Our second one here, in over my head. Okay, so if you're in over your head, it means you feel overwhelmed or maybe you're not in control. So I said yes to this role. I said yes to this new job, but I'm in over my head. I feel overwhelmed. I'm not in control. I'm in over my head. And our last one here, back to square one. If you go back to square one, it means you start again from the beginning. So the client changed their mind completely, and now we're back to square one. So some good expressions, idiom expressions that you can use there. Okay, so I just want to talk about this question here that Maria's put up. What is the best option? Watching movies with the subtitles in English or in our mother tongue? Now, all I can say is from my own experience. So when I've been learning a second language, if I watch, let's imagine I'm learning Korean, okay? Now, K-dramas are very popular, aren't they? If you love K-dramas, let me know in the comments, but they're very popular. But an English person watching a K-drama or a Korean TV show, if they have the English subtitles on, all they will do is read their native language. I'm not listening to Korean and trying to learn it. I'm just reading the dialogue in my language. I'm not learning anything. So it is always the best option to watch a TV show or a movie and have the subtitles in the language that you are trying to learn. So for you guys, that will be making sure you have the subtitles on in English. That's going to help you to learn the vocabulary. Yeah, Richard, I've had a little bit of a cold this last week, We're kind of at the end of it, but it is still kind of hanging around a little bit, unfortunately, but we'll get there. Okay, guys, now here's a question for you. What do you prefer? What's your favorite way to learn new phrases? Do you like TV shows? Do you like movies? Do you like social media? Do you like books? Or do you like real conversations? What's the best way for you to learn new phrases? Where do you have regular schedule to live lesson like this? I'm a newcomer on the YouTube channel. Yep. So we've got our live class today, of course. We've got another live on Wednesday, and then we also have another one next Monday as well. So yeah, we've got lots of live classes happening soon. We'll talk a little bit more about the schedule for that later, of course. So here we go. So we're getting some opinions here. So what's your favorite way to learn new phrases? Obviously, we've looked at some new phrases in our class today so far, but what's some of your favorite ways to learn them? So TV shows, movies, social media, books, or real conversations? Okay, so real conversations, Stefan's saying. Gigi likes TVs and movies. Maria likes TV, movies, real conversations. Anne likes all of them. John likes TV and movies. Richard likes TVs and movies. Maria again, TV, movies, real conversations. Okay, interesting. Good, good, good. So interesting here to realize that most people enjoy learning these natural phrases from TV shows, movies, and having real conversations, as well as social media. Not many people enjoying reading books to learn new vocabulary, apart from Olga here. But yeah, really interesting. Okay, guys, that's fantastic to get your viewpoint on it. So it's all about, it's great to learn these new words and phrases and vocabularies together. But, how can you learn natural English phrases for your everyday conversations day to day? Because you need to, take that responsibility, learn for yourself. So that's good. So, guys, really good. So I just want to say thank you so much for joining today. So we've looked at some natural English, we've looked at real phrases, we've looked at how to keep learning on your own, how to keep practicing one phrase at a time. So this is a little bit of a challenge for you. What I want you to do is pick one phrase from today and try to use it in real life this week. Okay, that's what I want you to do. So now we can do a little bit of a Q&A section. So if you have any questions, then please put them in the comments and I'd be very, very happy to answer them for you. But let's have a little thing here. So we've had a live class today. We've also got another live class on Wednesday. You can find all the information about when our live sessions are going to be on our socials. So if you look at Learning English with Oxford on Instagram or on YouTube, you'll be able to get information about our schedule. And it's always fun to get together like this, do our live class, interact, learn new things, and try to progress and help us improve. So really good. Thank you so much for all the really positive feedback there. Thanks, Maria. Thanks, Ollie. Really appreciate that. You're very sweet to say those things. Richard as well. Zara, thank you so much. So like I said, if you have any questions, please drop them in the comments. I'm always here to help you. I want to help you to improve, to grow with your English. And even when you think you are, really progressing and you're at a high level, there's always more to learn and there's always more ways to improve. So really fantastic. Thank you, Stefan. Really appreciate that. Very interesting lesson. I'm glad it was beneficial for you. And as well, look at all this support, guys. Thank you so much. Really good. Hassan, yes, so this video, I believe, is going to be uploaded to our YouTube channel here on Learning English with Oxford. So if you haven't already, the best way to keep up to date with all the content that we put out here with the OUP, with Learning English with Oxford, is to make sure that you're following us on our YouTube channel and our Instagram, and keep up to date with all all of those things. It really is a great source of content and resources as well. Good, really good. I appreciate all of the support here, guys. Good. Thank you so much. Good. Really good. So, guys, like I said, today has been a live class to really help you to progress with your natural English. Being able to speak English in a natural way helps you to feel more confident and is ultimately going to help you to progress to that next level with your English. So, thank you so much for joining our class today. I really do appreciate all of the support on our live session. And try to use some of these expressions in your own English that week. Take that challenge, try to do it, and keep progressing. Now, if you can, we have another live session on Wednesday, and it would be fantastic if you can join us on that session as well, where we're going to be talking about lots more things to help you progress your English. So, guys, thank you so much. Really appreciate that. Love all the feedback in the comments. And that's going to be about it, I think. So really appreciate it. Thank you everyone for all your support, and I can't wait to see you next time.